Stalker 2 has officially been delayed, and the Xbox strategy with the multiple SKUs proves to be the smarter strategy. Welcome back to another video, guys. You enjoy daily content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. So the other day I made a video talking about potentially Stalker 2 was going to be delayed, as there was a rumor circulating around, and it looks like those rumors were 100% true, as it has now officially been announced that the game is going to be delayed to December 8th, 2022. Here was the tweet from Stalker. They say, "Stalkers, we have made a decision to postpone the release of Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl to December 8th, 2022. These additional 7 months of development are needed to fulfill our vision and achieve the desired state of the game. Stalker 2 is the biggest project in the history of GSC, and it requires thorough testing and polishing. We are convinced that development should take as long as necessary, especially in the case of such a project. This decision is not an easy one, but we are doing the best possible to deliver you a game that can live up to the expectations. With more information, updates, and showcases coming, we have an exciting and important year ahead. Thank you for your patience and understanding. With love, GSC Game World Team." So Stalker 2 being delayed to December creates a very interesting scenario, in my opinion, from more of a marketing perspective than a consumer perspective. At least for me personally, I've said this multiple times. I don't care if games get delayed. If they come out polished, I'd much rather that happen than them come out broken. And I also have so many games to play in my backlog. Plus, there's tons of games in Xbox Game Pass you can always jump into. But from a marketing perspective, April and May are very, very quiet months, and we haven't heard of any really big releases that we know of, other than was supposed to be Stalker 2 coming onto Xbox Game Pass. And if you think about last year, the surprise announcements of like Outriders in March and MLB The Show 21 in April, I think Xbox is going to have to dig into their pockets now and really try to fill that gap that Stalker 2 would have had as that big game release in April. Maybe we'll get the next MLB The Show this year in April, but I think they will probably need a little bit more than that to get that hype train continuous throughout the entire year, going through the spring months like they had last year. Pretty much every month you can remember, there was a big Xbox Game Pass release that people were looking forward to playing, and that is now taken away this April. So I'm actually pretty excited to see what they are going to do. I really do think they're going to dig deep into their pockets and try to secure a big name game for these months, so that, like they did last year, if you remember when randomly we heard Outriders was coming, the amount of hype that created for Xbox Game Pass and the amount of excitement, and then the next month following that, MLB The Show 21. I think we're going to see that again this year. I could be wrong, but I'm just kind of anticipating and excited to see what's going to happen. All right, moving on here to a story that I think is very telling, showing the difference between the Xbox and the PlayStation strategy going into this generation. I think on multiple levels, Xbox was much more prepared, had a much more robust strategy when it came to various different things, such as backwards compatibility, such as being able to play anywhere, having the 2 SKUs with the Xbox Series X and S, the cross-generational stuff that PlayStation had to go back on, the smart delivery, all that type of stuff that it kind of has just been a hassle on PlayStation, but has worked flawlessly on the Xbox consoles. And it seems like we're seeing this again play out, in the sense that when Xbox announced the SKU of the Xbox Series S, a lot of people had negative things to say about that, saying things like it was going to hold back this generation because it was a less powerful console, which we see it has not done that at all. In fact, it's probably enhanced this generation by getting more Xboxes into people's homes in order for them to experience the Xbox ecosystem. And for a lot of people, it's an incredible console to just hook up to a monitor, play those multiplayer shooters at high frame rates. I use my Series S all the time, maybe even more than my Series X, if I'm being honest, because I play a lot of my games right where I film my videos, and my Series S is connected to my monitor. And you can't beat the price for what you're getting with that console. And it looks like PlayStation is going to be going a different route, and a lot of this has to do with the shortage of the PS5s and the chip shortage, everything that has been going on since the release of these consoles with the supply chain. So this comes via a report from Bloomberg that says that in order to deal with the shortage for the PS5, Sony is going to be producing more PlayStation 4 consoles in 2022. So an official statement from Sony says this: it is one of the best-selling consoles ever, and there's always crossover between generations. Sony spokesperson told this to Bloomberg, and they are confirming that they are continuing the production of the PlayStation 4. So a lot of people are jumping to the conclusion, even Bloomberg is reporting, that people familiar with Sony's plans for console manufacturing have said that the PS4 production was going to end in 2021, but because of the new generation console shortage, they're continuing that production through to 2022 with the PS4. And it's a very odd thing to think about because we're 2 years into this console. Yes, the PS4 has sold extremely well. Yes, it still sells well, and that may very well be the reason why they are still doing it, because if you even look at the numbers throughout the year, I believe last year in Japan, which probably plays a major role as to why they would want to continue to produce these consoles, the PlayStation 4 still sold about 100,000 units, which isn't a huge number, but it's still showing that people are willing to pick up and play and buy the PS4 for various reasons. I mean, it's extremely popular. There's so many great games on the PS4, lots of incredible JRPGs as well, especially for Japan. So it makes sense that people are still going out and buying it. But you think about the overall strategy of Xbox and of PlayStation, where Xbox doesn't need to worry about this type of stuff because of their ecosystem. For example, they stopped making the Xbox One back in 2020, and this comes via Cindy Walker, who is a senior director of Xbox console product marketing, saying, "To focus on production of Xbox Series X and S, we stopped the production for all Xbox One consoles by the end of 2020." And they were able to do that for a couple of reasons. One, they had the Xbox Series S as well, which was easier to get and still is easier to get compared to the Xbox Series X. And two, they have that ecosystem that, hey, you can't get your hands on an Xbox, but you still want to play Xbox games, still want to play Halo Infinite. You can just sign up to Xbox Game Pass and play it on your PC, play it via the cloud. And there's just multiple ways to jump into these games. Where with PlayStation, you want to play a game like Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, you have to buy a PlayStation 5. It's the only way, at least for now. We do see that they are bringing more games over to PC. The God of War just came over the other day, and it seems like it is a masterful port for PC, which is great to see that even though these games are later coming on to PC, PlayStation could probably just throw them on there and not optimize them that well, and people would still buy them and spend tons of money on them. But it's great to see that they are making sure that the games run probably best we've seen them run when you're playing it on PC. And we can just think back to the beginning of the generation, where Jim Ryan had that infamous line saying that they believed in generations, when clearly that was just something that was used to try to hype up their fan base, so that they thought that everything coming out once the PS5 release was going to be specifically for the next gen console. And obviously that's not the case. I mean, you got to look at the money they make, the business. It makes no sense to leave behind that many PS4 units. In fact, it makes so much nonsense that they're still continuing to push and produce the PS4. Now, I don't know what this is going to mean, because I look here in Canada and I look at the prices of the PlayStation 4 console, and I don't know why anyone would really walk into a store and pick up a PlayStation 4 for these prices when they could get a Xbox Series S for cheaper or for the same price. So I don't know how it's going to compete, but as of right now, they aren't even available. But I guess all this to say, you look at the strategy between the two companies, and it really shows that Xbox's strategy was pretty masterful this generation. Even with all the things going on in the world, they were prepared, and they knew that by opening up that ecosystem, having multiple SKUs, allowing people to play where they want to play, not only was it going to bring more people into Xbox and allow more people to enjoy the games, in no way was it going to hold back this generation of gaming. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Are you disappointed that Stalker 2 has been delayed? And what do you think about PlayStation still producing PS4s into 2022? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. You're new here, you like what you saw throughout this video, would appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video.
We'll be right back.